What's up, everybody? I'm Blessed and Free. Welcome back to another episode of DOC TV. So you guys already know on this channel, I like to bring guests on that have been to prison in different states and to get their experience on what they went through. So, man, why don't you tell the people what your name is and where you're from?
Shit, man. My name TY, and I'm from New Jersey, South Jersey, next to Philly.
What was life like for you growing up, man? Like, when did you start getting in trouble? What'd you do? And how long did you get?
Shit, I started getting in trouble early, honestly, because man, I don't know. I didn't have a very good home life, I guess. Like wasn't I didn't really have like no role models pretty much, like at all. So it was just me. I met a like-minded female when I was like 12, and she would become my future babe mom, and we would just be terrorizing shit ever since we was about 13. That's the first time I caught a case. I went to the youth house, went to Atlantic County Youth House. It's called Harbor Fields, for a stolen car with her on my 13th birthday. That's the first time I ever got, like arrested for anything.
So when you said like you came with no role models growing up, like what was up with your parents? Were they on drugs or they just really weren't in your life?
Well, I hadn't met my father up to that point, so I didn't even know who he was, type shit. And then my mom, she was just always at work, like, so I ain't really have nobody to raise me. I had like, like family members around, but they ain't really give a fuck, like my uncle, he was in the streets and shit like that. So, like it was just pretty much me getting raised by like my cousins and shit who like a year or two older than me. So they don't really, you know what I mean? They don't know no fucking better.
So when did you get your first charge, man, where like you ended up going to prison for it? And like what happened with that?
So long story short, I actually went to jail twice. I got out of jail and went back to jail for the charge that sent me to prison the same fucking day. But at the time, so this is back like 2015 when Backpage was popping, you know what I mean? And me and my baby mom and her two friends were running like, a little prostitution thing going on out of a motel room. And we're all strung out and shit, we're all on fucking perk 30s and Xannies and, smoking weed, drinking. We're doing all types of bullshit, sniffing coke. And yeah, dude, like I went to jail. It was crazy because it was for a $1,100 warrant, and my baby mom had a $500 warrant. And back at that time, like if you had $1,000 warrant or less, the sheriffs wouldn't come get you. They'd release you with a court date. So the sheriffs came and got me. I sat overnight in the county. They let me go.
Tell the people what it's like, man. Obviously, you went to jail in New Jersey. I'm taking it, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what's that like going to jail in New Jersey? Like for, a white boy like yourself, like, is there shit you got to be worried about or is it pretty chill?
I'm going to say, honestly, it really depends where you're locked up. It's not going to be sweet anywhere you go, for sure. Especially where I'm from. So like the worst cities in New Jersey is like the absolute worst one is Camden. And like I'm from like literally 5 minutes away from there. So, you know what I mean? Like it's fucked up. It's called Camden County. Then you got Newark, there, Essex County, Jersey City, that's Hudson County, Trenton, that's Mercer County. That's where you probably got something to be worried about.
Were you getting tried when you were in there? Like getting into grid and fighting? Or like how does that part work? Is there TOHs and shit like that?
You definitely could get tried. It depends, how your demeanor is. I definitely got tried, like within my first day by there's a skinhead gang here called SPS, State Prison Skins. And that's like the only white gang in New Jersey. And what we have here is something called 7-day. So when they book you into the county jail, you would sit downstairs in processing, which is just giant bullpens, and they move you from bullpen to bullpen as they, take your picture, do your paperwork, you see the nurse, all that bullshit. Then they take you upstairs. You get a mat, and you go upstairs to the 3rd floor. This is the biggest fucking jail unit you've ever seen, bro. It's huge. It's called 3 South A, and there's like, and mind you, it's 2-man cells with like 4 or 5 people just stuffed in them. in them. I think there's like 96 or 98 cells, and they're packed. And
So they
you're
got them like sleeping on the floor and doing all that shit, right? With like the boats.
we never heard of boats. We just got boats in like 2017. It was just your mat on the floor.
All right. Well, where I'm at, we had them shits in like '08. So I know all about them boat lives.
People from Burlington County, like that's the county next door, they'd be like, bro, what the fuck? You guys are just sleeping on the floor and the cell is like flooding and shit. We're like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
we used to say in our county, all the people sleeping on the boats were sleeping in the trailer park.
bro, that's literally, yeah, I could relate. Packed in there fucking 5 deep. But yeah, so you're in there for 7 to 14 days and you're only out of your cell 15 minutes, maybe every other day, maybe.
What ended up happening with the skinhead gang you were talking about?
We're both in 7 day and he's a couple cells down from me. And my man's had came in. My man's from my town. He had got booked. Actually, we were in the county van on the ride over together. He had got picked up in a town on the way to the county jail. So he's like, yo, I got backhoe and I got some bud with me. And I'm like, bet when we get upstairs, hit me off. And he's like, I got you. So I guess he knew the skinhead dude. So he's in the cell between me and him. So it's like all three of us in a row. And he's telling me he's gonna break me off. He got me when the runner comes with the trays. He's gonna give him some to give to me and slide under the door. I'm like, all right, bet. So fucking when he goes to do that, the skinhead dude tries to like, I guess there was some confusion. He had told him he was gonna give him some too, or he was trying to debo me. I don't know what it was, possibly, but he was just like, yo, like, nah, that's coming to me, bro. Like, that's for me. And I'm like, nah, nah. So we got into it, and we knew the only reason we were talking shit and like we're behind closed doors, not in front of each other, is because we both have to go to something called video court. So within 24 hours, you go to video court when you're booked in the county, and they read you your charges. And the dude's like, bet, like, you know what I mean? Like, he's like, I just did 15 years and I just violated parole. So like, I don't give a fuck. Like, it's
He
up.
ain't hearing nothing.
No, he didn't give a fuck. And yo, my boy's like, yo, I just got out of Southwoods with this motherfucker. Like, he's crazy. So I'm like, damn. So lunch comes around.
You got the right one, huh?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm like stiff as hell, dude. I'm like coming off the streets, all fucking pills and shit. I'm like, oh man, like I'm about to have to rock with this big ass fucking Nazi and shit. So my man from my town is in there with me and this other dude, and they're just like, bro, like you're gonna have to fucking make a banger. And they're like, fuck it, like we're gonna jump in with you, fuck it. We all got video court together. When they lock the cage, we'll just fucking shake, fuck it. So I'm like, all right, bet. We don't even have fucking boats in there, so I didn't know what to do. So they were passing out, before they would give us styrofoam cups every other time I had been to the county. And at this point, they started giving out these
they're little plastic like bendy cups, right?
No, they weren't bendy cups. These were like hard plastic, and they weren't like
the little. Okay, yeah. I know which ones you're talking about.
Yeah, they were kind of big. So I was like, bro, I'm about to just break this shit. And you know what I mean? Like shit like this usually breaks kind of pointy. So they were like, fuck it. So I stomped on it a few good times. I got it to break. And you know what I mean? I made the best sliver I could out of hard plastic and wrapped it up with a piece of a sheet and went to sleep off the Libriums. You know, the old county jail trick, tell the nurse that you're an alcoholic, you're on Xanax and shit. They give you Libriums, you sleep through intake.
All right, man. So when you ended up getting sentenced to prison, how long did you end up getting sentenced for?
4 years.
4 years. And that was in New Jersey, right?
Yep.
What was that like, man? I mean, obviously you just went through it going in through county, going through all the shit you went through. So how does that compare to when you got sentenced and then ended up going to prison? Like, what's that transition like?
The county it wasn't that bad because I'm from out there. So, you know what I mean? Like everybody kind of rocked with each other. We all knew each other. The pod I was mostly in, it was everybody from my city. So I was all right. You know what I mean? Prison, dude, they just closed it down actually, but prison was fucking horrendous. Like the prison that they send everybody to is called Craft. Central Reception and Assignment Facility, and it's in Trenton. Dude, this shit literally looks like Alcatraz. Like, no bullshit. Like, it looks like, dude, it's nuts.
It's on an island?
Shit, it ain't on an island, but
well, then it don't look like Alcatraz.
Shit, you would if you were locked on the inside, you wouldn't know the difference. You know what I mean?
So it's a dungeon, basically.
Dude, it's a fucking dungeon. I think it opened in 1903 or 1913.
Oh yeah, it's a dungeon.
Dude, you one of the old bar things, they got the box that they gotta hit it like 10 times just to open all the cells. And every inmate that is sentenced to state prison in New Jersey goes through there. And every unit, there's 2 phones. And every unit has about 120 people. So
right when you get to prison in New Jersey, you can get on the phone and just call your people that quick. You don't got to wait or nothing like that.
If motherfuckers want to let you get on the phone, if you can fight.
So, sure, you're fighting then to get on the phone.
Hell yeah, you're gonna fight to get on the phone.
All right. So what is gangs running that? Are they gang phones, like a blood phone, a G phone?
Yeah, and the thing that's crazy about New Jersey is there's so many goddamn fucking gangs here, bro. Like,
that's everywhere, bro.
Like, Jesus Christ, like, bro, it's insane. So it's like,
so were you banging? Were you gang banging when you were locked up in New Jersey?
Yeah, I didn't start gang banging in prison, but I had done, like county jail time.
Right, before. Where you're not active, like
yeah. It was just the same, bro. They in New Jersey, they don't have no picks. It's not like all right, this gang runs his phone. Like, you might have one dude who's like, you know what, fuck you and your gang. I'm about to try. I got a banger and I'm trying shit. This is my phone. Suck my dick. Like you have shit like that happen. Like some just 6'8" crazy motherfucker from Newark with a sword and a lock and a sock wants the phone. He might debo it from a group of 10 motherfuckers. Like, it could.
Yeah. And sometimes, man, when they're in the gang, like they're like 19, 20-year-olds, and then you get like a convict that comes in there, just did a fresh 15. He ain't hearing none of that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, my phone, what?
And this is one of those spots where everyone's going to meet. You know what I mean? Like, but honestly, man, if like once or twice I had to do some extra out shit to get on the phone. But honestly, man, I was just as humble and respectful as possible, And I was just being myself, bro. I didn't really run into too much problems. I had my fair share of fades. You know what I mean? I had to get into some shit. But,
all right. So when you were doing time then in New Jersey, what was one of the craziest things you saw? I always ask everybody because it's always different, like in every state. So thinking back, like what was the craziest thing you saw when you were in there?
Bro, I have plenty of people who, if they see this, they can vouch for this. But Annandale camps on the east side, Pod 1, when they beat up this skinny Puerto Rican kid. I forget what they called him. But it was so fucked up, dude. He had like cerebral palsy. They beat him up and tied him up and just stuffed him under the bunk, like for fun. And the CO came around and he's like, "Where's Rodriguez?" And they were like, because there was 2 of them in there with the last name Rodriguez. He's like, "I'm right here." He's like, "No, the retarded looking one." They were like, "Oh, he's under the bunk." The CO looked under the bunk. He said, "Yo, make sure he's out before the Sarge walks around, before count clears."
So the officer saw him under the bunk and was just like, "That's great. Like, get it right before shift change."
Yeah. Like, all right, sink or swim, bud. Like,
so was the dude knocked out underneath the bunk?
No, he was just, down there, just tied up. Like,
oh, like they tied his ass up. Oh, damn, bro.
They hog-tied him. They let him out. I saw someone get put in the locker before. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the kind of bunks that the bunk is your locker, so you can like lift the actual part up where you sleep at.
Yeah. I've seen that.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I seen somebody get knocked out and locked in one of those in Bo Robinson.
Golly, man. When you went to prison, that was the only time you went to prison, when you did the 4 years?
Yeah, I did I did the whole 4 years except for 130 days. I had 130 days left to max out before they gave me a parole date. After they hit me the first time, like basically to the end.
Well, hey man, you're done with it all, right?
Yeah, I'm done with it all.
All right, you're doing good now and everything?
Yeah, bro. I'm in school to be a heavy machine operator. I'm about to graduate in like 2 weeks. You know what I mean?
Bro.
I'm just
That's
doing
what's
the right
up, man. Salute to you, man. What's one thing, man, that you learned from your whole life, like that lifestyle, and then ending up in prison? What was it for you that made you want to change?
The fact that I just couldn't imagine myself allowing my daughter to go through what I had to go through. You know what I mean? I can't imagine anyone just letting a child just, you know, go off into the streets like that. Nobody trying to, stop me, nothing. You know what I mean? Like nobody to tell me different type shit. You know what I mean? Like motherfuckers encouraging me to take the wrong path in life. Like I wouldn't want that for anybody. And that's why I preach positivity and I just try to do the right thing today. You know what I mean? Like, and
yeah, you're being that role model that you didn't have, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can hope to be in life is a good father and a good son. Because living this lifestyle turned my mother's hair gray. You know what I mean?
Yeah, turn my hair gray. I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I just want to thank you for coming on the channel, man, sharing your story. Big ups to you for changing your life around. If you guys are new and you're tuning in for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And with that, it's DOC TV, and we're out.